Because, okay, so I know you were 35 divorced, living on your parents' couch. You're known as the LinkedIn guy, but you also have this really thriving men's group. And I
Mm,
know you from a mastermind community we've been part of. And I learned about you not from being a 35-year-old divorce. It's through telling our authentic truths and through also hitting our different various bottoms that the most growth comes. I know that's true for me and most everyone I've talked to, gotten the privilege to talk to on here. Yeah, I love that you help people amplify their impact. And
mm.
that's just so incredible. So, which of those would help you get to that message and to help
Yeah,
people?
honestly, yeah. I use a phrase that I heard in a personal development program that I was in at one point. I guess it was about 7 years ago, about turning my mess into my message. And when I first heard that, I thought, huh, that's interesting because I always thought that my mess was just my mess and I better bottle that stuff up or else people are going to think that I'm flaky or a failure or just somebody that can't stay consistent with anything. Because I've bounced around to a lot of different things in my lifetime, many identity shifts, and reinvented myself. And I continue to do so to this day. I'm in Mexico right now with our family. We were in Costa Rica last year, and who knows where we'll be next year. But I seem to constantly put myself into places of disruption and discomfort. But it's almost as though I've built a muscle to do this over the years so that every time I'm faced with these insurmountable, unexpected things like going to the LAX in the middle of the afternoon and in rush hour traffic that I can navigate this stuff. So I guess that's the first thing that I would say is just it's not as though I only have one experience or incident in my life where a light bulb went off. It almost feels like a lifetime of constant experiences and I'm still in it. I'm still in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I try to lead with too is even the guys that come into our community with the extremely conscious man movement, we don't stand in front of them and say, I'm up here on this mountain and you need to get up here and grab my hand. We go, hey, grab my hand. I'm on the mountain with you. Let's go climb this thing. That's the best analogy I can use for it.
Yeah, I love
A
that
lot of it.
analogy too. It's very hard to once you start meditating and people are like, "What? I can't meditate." And I'm like, "You can't do it wrong."
Yeah.
And yeah, self-care matters and it's how we heal and there's just it's everything. I told somebody a few weeks ago I got caught I was trying finally getting something fixed at the house and it's been a couple of years I wanted to. And the guy who came over told me I was such a calming influence. I'm a really hyper person. Nobody has ever told me that in my lifetime. And I was like, "Wait, can I get that on like we record that?" What? Like
You play it
and I'm like,
back for
"That
yourself.
there
I
you
am
go."
this person. I
Yeah.
am this
I was
person.
like,
Yeah.
"Wow, I'm a calming influence. How about that?" I called my daughter when he left. She goes, "He did not." I go, "Yeah, someone said I was a calming influence." There you go. I was like, "See what can
Well,
happen?"
yeah. And it's funny because it can very simply be explained too that the stuff that we're talking about is actually really quite simple, especially the self-care side of things too. I created a guide that became the foundational manual for somebody that's where I was 2 years ago, where they go, there's got to be more to this life. I want to have more. I think I need to be more in order to have more. They're just starting to ask the questions. And I created this guidebook called The Simple Guide to Extreme Change. And inside of there, it includes a number of different things that are just foundational with regards to the journey that I've been on and collectively with Mike Prince, who I co founded this space with, and some of the other guys in our space, including Joe, who you know. And it's maybe the first introduction that people have to like levels of consciousness or Maslow's hierarchy of needs or power versus force and all of these things that you don't even look for if you're operating in the opposite way. But the foundational pieces that we talk about in there are sleep, water, nutrition, fitness, and mindfulness. And now you can go deep on every single one of those in many granular ways, but most people don't actually pay attention to those things at the level that would completely change their life. And it doesn't need to be hard. It's actually quite simple, but it's not easy because it requires you to change who you are and how you show up every day and even your beliefs, just like you were saying there, right? It's like somebody said that you're a calming presence. Oh, I don't believe that. Then, of course, you're true or you're correct, right? You're going to be correct on anything you
Yeah.
believe, even if somebody reflects it to you. So now there's the block. How do you see through that and go, maybe I am actually a very calm person? That person felt that energy. There might be something
Oh,
to that.
yeah. Yeah, whatever you tell yourself, you're right. It's so
Yeah,
simple that
100%.
way. Yeah, it's whatever you focus on, that's what grows, and whatever you tell
It
yourself, you're
grows.
right. So somebody who they want this, but they're scared, what would you tell them?
Oh, honestly, for me, I think the thing that has kept me grounded and moving forward, because it's still that still comes up for me to this day. I'm still scared to leap into certain spaces or places or sharing of my story and all of that kind of stuff. And I had to look into the future to see a scenario of a life that I wanted, or even just a particular situation, to be able to ground me back into the micro of small decisions. And for me, what that is, I do have 2 boys that are 5 and 6 years old, and we now live down in Mexico, so they have the opportunity to surf every day. And I won't push them into it, but they're starting to love it, and I'm so glad that they are, because I want them to be little surf kids.
Yeah.
And if they do, and 25, 30 years from now, they say, "Dad, let's go surfing." I wanna be the guy that's grabbing my surfboard and racing them into the water, not the one that says, "I'll watch you from shore on the lawn chair." And that impacts every decision that I make right now on a very micro level. And I have to remind myself all the time, too, those days that I don't want to go to the gym, or the days that we got the brownies on the counter and I really love sugar, but I know that I shouldn't be. So, and it's a micro thing at a time. I keep layering these things on. And that's one of the things that we do with these guys, is that we look at the big picture, but then we bring it back to the present. So, like, head in the clouds, feet on the ground, because we have to have a purpose and a drive and a why that's greater than just that current moment. Because a lot of times we'll just succumb to it and go, I'll have a third beer. It's not going to hurt. I'll be able to get up in the morning. But now, using that example, I'll have one on a nice sunny day, which is every day down here. But
Yeah.
that's it. I just don't want any more than that now, because I know how it impacts me and the way that I can be present and alert with my kids. And I want to go and enjoy every single moment. So I would say, get yourself around a group of people that are also thinking in that way, choosing to operate that way. And then, yeah, find the community that can support you in becoming that person.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have a message I hope you wanna give?
Oh, a message of hope. Honestly, I think in a world that we live in now that seems so divisive and polarizing and filled full of hate and war and anger and everything, every single day, I one of the things that I choose to do, and I'm not always perfect at it, is to lead with love. And it takes many shapes and forms, and in a lot of cases, what's needed is to start with yourself. So how can you love yourself a little bit more today? How can you look in the mirror and just say those words, "I love you"? It could completely change your day, and then the ripple effect from that could change the world.